day I wake, I make my mind up. I'ma be the one, be the truth, be the way. Yeah. Every day I wake, I make my mind up. Gotta keep my mind on the because they only telling their side of the story. Out here telling lies like they on Maury. Them poor rich kids get their money on phone it. But down here in the hood, yeah, we know Forex. We growing up, yeah. We got the goods. Good of them assets, good of my bag. Get rid of cash before the whole market crash. A news flash, just a blast from the past. We on the smash now. Be prepared to hit the gas, yeah. Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, put your game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We the vibe, blood eye, yeah, we travel. Try. Blood eye, yeah, we travel. Woo. That's my child. Woo. Blood eye, yeah, we travel. Hit him with the higher, yeah. Sherry no haka from Virginia, yeah. I know I'm more because I'm blessed. I know I'm more. I passed the test. We
need to see with the true eyes. We need some brand new bright ideas. We got the hearts and some great minds, yeah. If we could all just be sincere.
Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, switch the game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We the vibe, blood eye, yeah, we travel. Try. Blood eye, yeah, we travel. That's my child. Woo! Blood eye, yeah, we travel. Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, switch the game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We the vibe, blood eye, yeah, we travel. Hit him with the higher, yeah.
Peace to the party. It's your homeboy back again with the news. We got a special show for y'all, man. It's Sunday service. Title of the build is The Roman Blueprint of America. But y'all know how we do. We got to start it off with a little bit of news. So we're going to take it over to Chicago, man. The whole immigration situation and ICE and everything with Trump is getting crazy, especially amongst, our community and the way that we are judging and viewing it. So I'm going to take it over here to Don Lemon Weekends. He out there in Chicago. But I want you to hear this conversation that he has with a woman who was a legal immigrant from Mexico. So let's take it over to Chicago. Let's start from there. Peace to everybody that's tapping in with us. Go on, get your popcorn. It's going to be a good one. All right, let's take it to Chicago.
And that's it? Is that what happens? You want to grab the link?
She wants to talk to you. She said you need to talk to people that have...
Okay.
It would be nice to hear different points of view and not just those that are for the mayor.
Oh, that we're not doing a thing on people who are for the mayor. He's a mayor of the city, and we just want to know what's happening with immigration. Okay, so...
No, I'm not really, but I'm just saying, we're from Kansas City.
Okay.
But originally from Mexico, so I kind of know what's going on.
Okay, but you don't live in Chicago?
No, we don't live in Chicago.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. It's nice to meet you.
But we are for immigration, though. I mean, they have to do it legally, and they have to do it the right way. Mexico right now is doing mass deportations on all the people that stayed illegally. Right. Because that's how you manage a country. And it's not about hating people, myself as an immigrant. It's just about doing things the right way.
Yeah. I understand that, but we don't like people being roughed up. America doesn't do that. America's about due process. And if you're going to come to this country, of course you need to do it legally, you need to follow the things. But in America, if you're going to go and pick someone up, you have to have due process. You've got to have a warrant. You've got to show them that there is a reason to do it. There is, you know what I'm saying? And so...
The reason to do it is they came into the country illegally, Don Lemon. What are we talking about, bro?
Maybe in Mexico that's different, but we don't beat our people up here. We're not supposed to.
Mexico is in North America, so North America is a continent. So you do have to do things the right way. and anywhere.
But Mexico doesn't go by the same rules that we do. We're the biggest democracy in the country, in the world, and we believe that we treat people humanely here.
No, I get that, and the thing is that when you come from a country that is not the U.S., you really see the blessing coming to a country that has freedom, a country that gives.
I completely agree with you, but you also see the way that you should not treat people. And I don't think people are protesting out here because they're upset that that they believe that people should just come over illegally. I think they're upset because of the way that they are doing it and that they are not going through the people. If you want to come to Chicago and you want to bring in the National Guard, you have to talk to the local officials and get their approval. That's how it works here. And you cannot just pick someone up and say, I'm going to grab you, whether they are undocumented or not.
Totally.
Why can't you not come and grab somebody who's undocumented? See, this man is talking. He's trying to overtalk the lady, but she's talking with a whole lot of sense. And she said, people don't understand how good they got it in America. So peep game on how she talking. She's very confident, and she's actually went through the legal immigration process. So I would say that she has much more knowledge on the situation than Don Lemon. But what y'all think?
Documented or not.
Others the way that you want to be treated correctly.
Right. So I think that's why people are protesting.
Yeah, and I agree with that, that's good, and that applies anywhere. It doesn't matter what country, that applies everywhere. You want to be treated the way that you want to treat others.
Right. But if you come, you want to do it the proper way if you want to come.
Exactly. And that's anywhere. So I think that also people need to understand that, because a lot of them have signs that said, no human is illegal. But once you enter the wrong way, doing it the proper way, you're breaking the law. And I think that we need to see both sides of it.
That's not a criminal act. And the president is a criminal, and he's in the highest office in the land. Coming over and being undocumented is not a criminal act. It does not deserve someone to be pushed to the ground and handcuffed. It's not. And so if you live, let me just tell you, I just got to be honest with you. If you come from a place like Mexico or whatever, you're from Mexico?
Yes.
If you come from a place like Mexico, you're right. We have amazing opportunities in this country. And the reason we have those is because we have a constitution where we treat people humanely, and we believe in immigration and people coming over. Not everybody comes over and they're going to do it the same way. Sometimes people come over under desperate situations and they need to get out, and we have to understand.
He was just about to say, not everybody comes over here and does it the right way, and their ass don't need to be here, bro. This is very simple, but he trying to explain and pull on the heartstring. We don't care what they got going on in their country. If they don't come over here legal, bro, that is to the disadvantage of everybody who's already in this country, especially when resources are going to them, bro. Like, you see how they trying to frame this, but I'm gonna let them rock because she cooking them, honestly.
But the reason that we have all these things and that you love America is because people have due process. It's because we don't treat people inhumanely. It's because we don't beat people up. It's because we don't throw people in detention centers in horrible conditions. That's why you love America. If we did that, then we would be the same as the places people are coming from, looking for more freedoms and more opportunities.
I also see a dark side of it, though, because now you see cities like California, Chicago.
You mean Los Angeles? States like California.
Yes, exactly. States like California, with cities like Los Angeles and other parts of California, Chicago, and then you see Portland, and then you see all these other places.
Now, y'all remember just last week on Sunday service, we detailed a sister speaking from Chicago and talking about how they were trying to create this narrative as if it was black people being detained. But what actually happened was ICE was going to a building that used to be a neighborhood that was majority black, and now it was filled with illegal immigrants, and they got them up out of there. So we know she ain't just talking. We can factually track this.
Where people are just breaking the law constantly, and they're just getting a slap on the wrist and send their way.
But
and
where's it? Portland, there's no emergency, there's no crime. In all of these cities that you're talking about, crime is down.
Okay, when you
always have issues with crime in big cities.
When you see those videos on TV of people just going in stores and stealing merchandise and just running out with
that shouldn't happen, but what does that have to do with immigration?
What I'm saying is that it has to do a lot with immigration, because you are saying that crossing illegally is not a crime. They're not breaking the law. That's my thing. If you
not a crime.
Go to Japan and try to do it illegally, and I guarantee you,
We don't live in Japan. That's the thing.
Okay, but
Do you want to live under Japanese rule? That
No.
you're making my point. You don't want to live under a dictatorship.
No, what I'm trying to tell.
She don't like to let him finish. I mean, she don't like to let, he don't want to let her finish because she's making a good point. You can't go to no country and get in illegally and they welcome you with open arms.
Because America is heading that way, because we're only giving slaps on the wrist instead of enforcing the law. So when
There are things that we need to work with, but we cannot brutalize people and not give them due process. Do we need to work on people who don't serve enough time in jail and other things? Absolutely.
Yes.
But that is not the same as immigration. And that, look, I think people should come here the right way. But also, I'm not in a dire situation where I'm going to judge how someone comes in the country when they are in fear of their lives or they have no opportunities. I'm not going to judge how they
told me the president is a criminal, so that's judging.
No, I'm not judging. That's fact. How's that judging?
Okay, crossing the border illegally is not a crime?
No, it's not a criminal act. It's a misdemeanor.
So why are they being sent back and saying that they're breaking the law?
That's the point.
Okay.
He's completely wrong.
As somebody that actually,
We don't know if they're breaking the law because they won't tell. There's no due process. Where's the evidence? That's the whole point.
Why do we owe constitutional protections to people who are not from this country? Think about what he's trying to overtalk her because he's a media head. He's trained in doing this. And she's just speaking from the heart, very intelligently, might I add. But he keep trying to cut her off. He don't want to let her speak because she really cooking.
And if they are breaking the law, most people will say, okay, then they need to go if they're criminals. But if they're not, why are they being rounded up and sent out? Especially when he promised to deport the criminals. And now he's not doing that.
Yeah, I don't think we're going.
Misdemeanor is not a crime. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
So misdemeanor is not.
It's not a criminal act. No, if you get charged with a misdemeanor, that's not a criminal
why
act.
get charged at all then, if it's not a criminal act?
Because we have different levels of crime. Everything is not the same.
So it is crime.
No,
it's just
we have
different
we have different levels of. I shouldn't say crime, but it's not. It's not. You're not. It's not a crime. You're not breaking the law.
It is a crime, bro. Like, you see how he's trying to explain this to try to make her look foolish, but she is absolutely correct. You cannot enter any country illegally. They will get you out of there. It's common sense, bro. Hey, you know what? If you don't believe it, you go test it. Come back to the party. Let us know what it was like when you tried to enter such and such country illegally. And then when you get back, we'll bring you on the show so you can tell us that America's different than everywhere else.
I mean, you are breaking the law, but it's not a criminal act.
So it's breaking the law.
No, you're not breaking the law.
The misdemeanor is not breaking the law.
No.
So if you're speeding, drinking, get pulled over, DUI.
That's not a criminal act. Well, no, if you're speeding is a misdemeanor.
It's a misdemeanor. Right. So it's still breaking the law.
Okay, well, if you want to qualify that, we're doing semantics.
Because
But what I'm
saying,
but what I'm trying to tell you is everything is not the same. It's all not one thing.
But is it the law?
What is it? The law that what?
Is it a law to come over
there a
legally?
law?
Is there a law?
There are rules processes that you should follow. Yeah, so you're breaking rules. You're breaking the rules, but you're not necessarily breaking a law.
So what happens when you break the rules?
Then you suffer the consequences. But the consequences should not. Look, no one is saying no one should suffer the consequences. You guys are getting things mixed up. Okay. What we're saying is that you should not be brutalized or beaten up or treated inhumanely for even if a criminal act in America.
Just for any law.
For any law, whether it is the highest in the land, you still have due process. You're still innocent until proven guilty.
Innocent till proven. The moment that you stepped over the lines illegally, I entered this country, there is no more innocence. You didn't magically appear here, bro. Like, you see what I'm saying? This is ridiculous of him trying to explain this point. He sounds foolish. But this is how the media does and spin things. He's saying inhumane. We don't have, bro, getting snatched up at your house when you here legally is not inhumane. If you resist against them and they fight back against you, hey, it is what it is, bro. These are federal agents, bro. But look how they trying to spin this as if the real Americans should feel sad for people who entered illegally. Like, what sense do that make?
Right.
Yeah.
No, we agree with all that.
But what's happening now is guilty until no proven. It doesn't matter. You're just guilty.
It's on both sides. But like, if you're going after someone that's breaking the law, right? So speeding or whatever, and they're lawfully pulling over and obeying your command, right? Then there's no issue. Are they going after people that are like calm and gentle?
Yes.
They are?
Yeah, they're
not resisting
no,
at all?
These people are, you just grab people and say, get on the ground and get in the car. And then someone will say, well, for what?
They don't have warrants at all?
No.
It's what he was saying, yeah.
They don't.
He talking about for what? You entered the country illegally. They know. People that's here illegally know they're here illegally, bro. If the ICE come for them, they know why they coming. Like, what are we talking about?
No warrants.
No, when it comes
Are you watching? Are you paying attention?
No, I don't.
We're watching
I
both
don't
sides.
believe the news.
No,
I can't watch the news because you don't know who's.
Well, I'm with you on that, but
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm just saying,
you're
I
not
don't know who
seeing.
knows.
No,
I'm
you got to
just
know. I love that you're talking to me and challenging me, but you have
I'm
to
not
know.
trying to challenge you. I'm just trying to understand because you're saying misdemeanor and different levels of law. Just break it down to the most simplistic, right?
There are different levels of breaking the rules and what crime means.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
I
But there's, when you
think
break
that
the
when
rules,
it comes
when you break the
down,
laws, there's always
it's like
a
crime
penalty.
is crime. There can be different levels. And when I use Japan as an example, it's not because I'm just saying, coming from a country myself that is corrupted, that you see crime here is nothing compared to what you see over there. People hanging from bridges by the necks, some even with no head. Crime is the worst that you can see. Go to Mexico, and I don't mean Cancun. Go to Mexico, Central Mexico, the real Mexico. There's crime at the worst. So what I'm saying is it starts little, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, till it gets to the point where you can no longer live in a country like that. Yeah. And this is where the U.S. is heading. And I was telling my husband...
That's never going to happen in America.
My husband,
ma'am, let me tell you, America's been around for hundreds of years. That's not going to happen.
Now let them tell it right now. Trump is destroying America. You see how easily they flip-flop on the points. So now it's so great and all these other things, which I agree in certain aspects, right? But then he is a participant in the media. Just because he, on the downfall right now, he's still a public figure. And he's on record saying that that'll never happen here. At the same time, telling us how Trump tearing the country apart. You see, it ain't about truth. It's just about them going against who they like for their own interests, their own gain.
Happen in America.
I mean, anything is possible.
It's not anything is possible. The only thing that can make it go to the level that you're saying is if America becomes a dictatorship, an authoritarian nation, and that's what we're quickly becoming.
Mexico has never had any dictators. Mexico has never been.
Mexico is not a democracy in the sense that America is.
Okay, but the
Mexico,
thing
you're comparing two places that are not the same, and you're making my.
They are the same.
Point by saying all of these bad things. Imagine if we allowed those things that happen in Mexico, imagine what it would be like in America. You wouldn't want to come here. The reason you want to come here is because we protect our citizens. Yes. And it's better than any country because of our Constitution, because of the rules and the laws that we have in place, because it is a work in progress. It is seeking a more perfect union. It's not that we're perfect. And in order to seek a more perfect union, you have rules that you live by.
He said it himself, because of the rules and the laws that we have in place. Exactly.
Correct.
Those rules and those laws are being broken left and right, and people are not being accountable, and it gets to the point where little by little starts growing and growing till it gets to a place where you can no longer live and be safe.
I think that
and it's heading that way.
It only gets to a place like that if you have a country that doesn't have a constitution, and that where you have to treat people a certain way, and you have to, innocent until proven guilty, due process. What do you have? Right. What do you have to prove to me that I am deserving of being sent to a detention center and shipped out of the country? You don't have to do that in Mexico.
Hey, look, we don't care how good of a person you are. If you come over here illegally, then you will be detained, right? Just like if you are an American citizen and you commit a crime and you get convicted by a jury of your peers, you will be detained. If it worked that way for us, how the hell is an illegal person supposed to get more rights than somebody who's an actual citizen?
Mexico. You don't have to do that in Japan. That is a problem, and you should be concerned about it.
Hey, but you get the basis of what he's saying here. I want to show you one more thing that happened here that really it kind of explained the position that we are in with the black community, right? Because I want to show you a sister Kater. So you hear her, she just speaking her facts. You know what I'm saying? You can tell she's definitely done her homework. But I want you to watch when sister come pop up, how things start turning. Check this out.
And we're gonna let you go because
Yes.
we don't agree with that.
Well, are we still on? We're still on. Okay.
What history book have you read? American history. Have you read American history? American history. Have you read it?
I don't know if you
have
know
you
that Mexico is
read?
North America.
No. Have you read American history?
Mexico is
American history. We talking about slavery, minorities.
Okay.
Have you read it?
Yes, I have.
So if you're a minority, do you like being grabbed, pushed, and thrown in a vehicle?
No,
in
we
front
don't
of your
agree with
kids?
that. We don't agree with
No.
that.
You said he's not a criminal. Where did you read that?
Who's not a criminal?
Who? You. Let's repeat. Go back. We're watching.
Okay.
I don't know if she said he wasn't a criminal, but she's saying that it
No, I
wasn't.
said my dad was here illegally.
we're talking
No, he's
about
talking about Trump being a criminal, right?
Yes,
Trump?
we're talking about the issue,
Okay.
the why.
Okay, to
The
begin
why.
No, to
The
begin with.
why.
Okay.
Let's get with the why.
Can I say something?
No. You tried it, he tried it. The why.
Okay. I don't know what the
The
why is.
why.
I don't know what the why is.
See, so she haven't read history. Thank you.
Okay.
Ma'am,
just had a
I will,
comment, it's
no,
okay.
hold on. I will say you read geography because Mexico is
We're
in North
not
America.
We're talking about history.
And also, there's
we're talking
North
about
American
being whipped.
history.
We're talking about slavery. We're talking about minorities and things that's being taken away from us. You're
you
not
wanna-
talking about
okay,
that.
You want to talk about what was taken away from the Mexicans?
Ma'am.
More
We're-
than half of the
we're
U.S. used
talking
to be
about-
part of Mexico.
So right now they're being
So if we're
beaten.
talking about that,
You're
yes.
talking about your own people.
Let's read history,
You're doing
but
them
let's
no
do it
justice.
the right way.
You're
Equally.
doing them no justice.
No, do you?
You're
Okay,
doing them no
but you do know that more than half of the
Peace.
U.S. used to be
Have a
part of
blessed day.
Mexico, right?
Peace.
Yes, I
Have a
know my
blessed
history.
day.
I know my
Right
history.
on.
All right.
Have a
No,
nice
this
day
is
as
fine.
well.
We're good. Nobody's going to get into it.
No, have a nice day.
No, but you are right. Mexicans didn't cross the border. The border
No, the border crossed us,
the
yeah.
Mexican.
And she right. Hey, so check this out, bro. This is what I be talking about right here. So we just watched this, right? We see in this situation that I'm just going the Mexican woman, she was speaking. You could tell she had some intelligence behind what she was saying. It was well thought out. And most importantly, she's actually been through this experience legally and also said how her father came here legally. So she know both sides of this. And this is the way she's speaking. All right. So now you have a black woman come up and off the gate, she emotional. She's just attacking this lady when this lady said literally nothing that should have offended, because prior to that, there was no interaction to them. It was just the Mexican lady talking about the history of Mexico, immigration. She ain't say nothing about black people that was disparaging. Here come the black woman and she instantly go to slavery. What does slavery have to do with this, bro? If you believe the slavery story, that means you were brought here. You didn't come here illegally. You didn't make your way over here for a better life, if that's the story you believe. So you couldn't even compare to these people. This is the problem. They always try to put us in a box, right? All minorities are supposed to be together. And we got the same story, the same struggle. No, we don't, bro. First off, every black person that's here, if you're what they call a foundational black, like Tariq and them say, you got a birth certificate. You got driver's license. You've been in this country for generations, bro. Ain't nobody deporting you. So the way she came with that conversation is a microcosm of what we see every day online when we try to build with each other. It get emotional. It get off the facts. It get to talking about stuff that don't matter outside the point at hand. But it's funny that they talk about immigration systems, because that's what we get into today. The Roman blueprint of America. We're going to show you that none of this is new. All right. This is all by design. But before we get to the build, this is how we ride. We appreciate everybody tapped in with us, the new subscribers, people liking the content, asking questions, sharing it with friends. We appreciate that. Shout out to our new Patreon members who joined with us, and we appreciate the support. So, we call this Sunday service for a reason. One day it'll make sense to y'all. But right now, before we get to the build, we're going to hear a little 1-2, a little A-B selection from the Gullah Man Squad. You know what I'm saying? And when we come back, we're going to get Mac on here. We're going to start the build and we're going to rock. So y'all just take a quick little break. Let's listen to some little entertainment real quick, and we'll be back here shortly, man.
Say the empire fell, but the law kept walking. Polybius drew the plan, Cicero drew the line, and they both still live inside these papers we call free. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
laws for command, Senate for control, assemblies just to make the people think they hold us so. Yeah. Verdicts in officio, carved in a stone, the word citizen in your home. The law spoke Latin, sweet and clean, but it is blade behind the dream.
Law became the language of change, paper crowns and legal names.
Government,
the homemade blueprint of America remains.
government,
Freedom in a foreign tongue, civic death dressed up as love. The empire never died, it just learned our tongue.
Papa Bulls,
They split the sky.
true God's name on maps to justify Yahoo and cast from Alhambra's gate. Moors and Maroons, sealed to fate. Go conquer, baptize, and make them yield. The post decree became the field. Spain and England shared the crown, and Rome's old ghosts ran every town.
They said liberty, but wrote it in Latin. They said all men are created equal, but their ink already chose who counts.
Franklin read Cicero by can of flame. Adams prayed in Apollo Peter's name. Madison studied the fall of Rome, then built his bones into his own. He pluribus unum, they proudly sealed, but unity served the sinners field. Two houses, one dream, one chain, new faces, same
The Roman blueprint of America remains. Freedom in a foreign tongue, civic death dressed up as love. The empire never died, it just learned our tongue.
Department of Justice, the minister's chair. Same fascist car, still standing there. Civil little mortals, living dead by law. The freedman's curse, the Indian's flaw. Yet from ashes, the covenant calls. The law of the heart outlasts marble halls. The republic was drawn, the empire became, but the covenant fire still calls by name. Oh, famous.
It'll fall again, not by sword, but by covenant men.
Truth over title, duty over fame. The covenant's the only revolution that remains.
The empire never died.
It just changed its name.
The empire never died. Just changed its name.
Yeah. Double life, double life, double life. Come on, good day. Yeah, double life.
Yeah. All right, we got one more from the choir, man. One more from the choir.
Say the empire fell, but the law kept walking. Polybius drew the plan, Cicero drew the line, and they both still live inside these papers we call free.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Built a throne on reason and rank. 3 heads, 1 heart that never sank. Consoles for command, Senate for control. Assemblies just to make the people think they hold a soul. Verbs is an officium carved in the stone. The word citizen meant your own. The law spoke Latin, sweet and clean, but hid its blade behind the dream.
Law became the language of chains, paper crowns and legal names. The Roman blueprint of America remains. Freedom in a foreign tongue, civic death dressed up as love. The empire never died, it just learned our tongue.
Across the sea, split the sky, drew God's name on maps to justify. Y'all them cast from my Lambert's gate. Moors in maroon, seal the fate. Go conquer, baptize, and make them yield. The Pope's decree became the field. Spain and England shared the crown, and Rome's old ghost ran every time.
They said liberty,
but wrote it in Latin.
They said all men are created equal, but the ink already chose who counts. They said liberty,
but wrote it in Latin.
They said all men are created equal, but the ink already chose who counts.
Franklin read Cicero by candle flame. Adams prayed in Polybius' name. Madison studied the fall of Rome, then built its bones into his own.
E pluribus unum they proudly seal, but unity served the Senate's field. 2 houses, 1 dream, 1 chain, new faces, same reign. Law became the language of change, paper crowns and legal names. Roman blueprint of America remains. In a foreign tongue, civic that dressed up. Empire never died, it just learned our tongue.
The comment of justice, the minister's chair, same fast as carved, still standing there. Civil little martyrs living dead by law. The freedmen's curse, the Indians flaw. Yeah, from ashes, the covenant calls. The law of the heart outlasts Marble Hall. The republic was drunk, the empire came, but the covenant fire still calls by name.
Rome fell once, it'll fall again. Not by sword, but by covenant. Truth over title, duty over fame. The covenant's the only evolution that remains. The empire never died, it just changed its name. With empire never died. It just changed its name.
Yeah. They went crazy, boy. They went crazy, boy. Hey, let me know in the chat if y'all feeling the choir, bro. We told y'all this Sunday service, man. Church, amen, all that. We finna bless y'all. You hear me? So look, let me get Mac up here. We gonna get to it, bro. I see he back there. He hyped. Let's get to it, bro. Mac, what's good, bro?
Oh man, I feel like I caught the Holy Spirit. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. We told him we got some new things coming, bro. Yeah.
Hey, tell the Gullah Mass Choir, man, listen, I appreciate them.
Yeah. They worked hard this week. Yeah, they was practicing.
They did their thing.
Yeah.
Man, listen, let me talk
That's
about
how we started it off like that, man. That's how we started it off and get the people ready. Yeah,
we can keep it Gullah. You heard me? The Gullah Mass Choir. You heard me? Yeah. Man, listen here, man. That was great though. Shout out to the choir for once again, Gullah.
Sure.
You heard me? Around to my people though on Sunday service. It's a campaign, you know what I'm talking about? So we, it's the blueprint though. And in the blueprint, we had to deal with the lawful understanding of the last 2 bills. We gave you that 14th Amendment on the first one. That was really broken down. That was shout out to Monte And obviously, from when we had some history came on. You know what I mean? Just give people some backdrop. That's what led us when we came back out to Hanson history to do the 14th Amendment and go into the Roman part so we can get everybody on the same page. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So this is why we're doing this, to coming back out so we can make sure you understand that we understand the foundation that we talking about. You know what I'm saying? So
putting all the pieces together.
Oh yeah, for sure. Man, that Gullah shit had me hyped just now, though, boy.
Wow, what? I'm telling you, was
Gullah Mac. Boy, I'm talking about Gullah Mac in the building. You heard me? I got my maroon shirt off. Shout out to all my Gullah folk, all my indigenous folk, all my maroon folk. You already know what it is. You heard me? Yeah. So yeah, man, I appreciate everybody that's pulled up for us, stay live with us. Shout out to everybody in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Before we get going. I see you got it up there though. It's the blueprint. You know what I mean? The Roman blueprint of America. You know what I'm saying? I could go a lot of places, but because of how this thing started out, we have to go to the colonial time frame. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of the colonial things, and even the people, which is going to be the next joint we do, showing how they have a tie to this Roman structure when they come over. And this ideal, when we hear about people say white elites, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
White elites, Anglo-Saxon. Benjamin Franklin is gonna be tied to this. So he gonna be brought up tonight in the conversation in the bill that we doing with y'all, you know what I'm saying, live. And at the end of the day, because we put names on shit. We just not trying to just blanket
not generalizations.
White, you know what I'm saying? And everybody got to be Caucasian or African or Mexican. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot more layers to this. But when we get to the system of it, it becomes a lot more clearer. You know what I mean? So you got the first joint up there. You know what I mean? We can get into the republic of the system, the Lord proprietors. You know what I mean? I'm gonna pull up my joints. Give me a second. You know, we live like you tell people go to the verses and shit.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So the Lord proprietors. Matter of fact, wait. Let me take this off my joint real quick. Yeah. That's what I want to give y'all a little backdrop on these proprietors. So let me pull it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So while you pull that up, so the way we laying it out, just so for people can understand where we going with it. So when Matt came with the build, and when it's time for us to discuss it and we do what we do, basically the layout is understanding that the Roman system that was created way back when was very influential upon the law and systems for governance that are still used today, especially in America, right? So we're gonna break down how all that came to be and show you the source proof of how it happened and why it happened. So that's really where we at with it. You know what I'm saying? So you can see the slide up here. We saying America inherited Rome's legal skeleton and indigenous federal heartbeat. So it was a blend, right? And so the Constitution is the Roman blueprint reborn on the Western soul. So this was like the remix. You feel me?
It's the remix.
Go ahead, Matt.
That's the remix. So we're gonna let that sit there real quick and understand the 13 colonies. Matter of fact, the French, the Dutch, and the Dutch got a little. I'm not gonna put the Dutch in there right away because I don't want to confuse nobody. You're gonna keep the Spanish, the Portuguese, the French, and then the mysterious one is the 13 colonies. See what I'm saying? It's because they have disputes going on. If everybody's been building with us with Lee Cummings joint and how we've been talking about King James. See what I'm saying? Yep. And even within his own lineage, his ancestors, people that before him and after him are having issues with this system, this Roman system. You know what I mean? And how they're trying to get away from it in certain cases. We don't went over that. You know what I mean? So underneath the 13 colonies, King James, though, he did have Lord proprietors. You see what I'm saying? So under the English charters, from the crown, 1606 to 1730s, but originally 1606 is why I said King James. So that would be the time frame of King James issuing these little proprietors to do certain things within the 13 colony jurisdiction. You know what I'm saying? All right, so a Lord proprietor was a private owner, governor of American province. You know what I'm saying? And it says he held a royal patent giving him as ample jurisdiction as the Bishop of Durham had in the Palinate. You hear that word, the Palinate. That's P-A-L-A-T-I-N-A-T-E. You know what I'm saying? Now it says That phrase is key, by the way. It is meant quasi-sovereign powers, Roman in origin, granted by the king. So that whole system that the Lord proprietors coming over here and in their different colonies up the East Coast, you know what I mean? 8 Lord proprietors, you know what I mean? Duke of York will be a Lord proprietor, even though we know he's tied to the Stuart lineage of King Charles, right? But he's still a proprietor. You see what I'm saying? In his position of dealing with the colony of New York, you know what I mean, at that time. So in that situation, it gives examples. Maryland, for instance, Lord Baltimore. Shout out to Miss Angela out of Baltimore, Maryland. You heard me? Yeah. The Calvert family, just to give y'all a surname to go with it. You know what I mean? It's going to be 1632. They were Catholic proprietorship under the canon law form. I want to give y'all these Lord proprietors before we even get to the United States. You know what I'm saying? We got Carolina, 8 Lord proprietors, including Earl of Shaftesbury and John Locke. Look him up. John Locke with
John Locke. Yeah, L-O-C-K-E.
Yeah, as secretary. You know what I'm saying? 1663 to 1669. John Locke, you know, I've been telling you, Munta, I ain't gonna do it today. If we have time, I might throw him back in there. He gonna come back around. So I'm telling y'all, you know what I mean?
Hey,
look him up. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put it like that. Hint, you heard me?
Let's make sure we so Lord proprietor, right? Let's make sure we explain people, because we've seen so just some pre-game for y'all on y'all research. The Lord proprietors have letters that go back to Europe.
Correct.
And it's a lot of information they detailed about the colonies and their size and how well they were doing or how bad they was doing, right? So you explaining this position.
I want you know they're more position. Yeah.
Yes, and it's from a Roman system. This position.
English law mixed with the Roman system of them underneath that crown. English common law. English common law before it came over here, and those crowns were still based with the systematic understanding of how people have positions, rankings, like Lord, you know what I mean? And being able to do things underneath the crown, you know what I'm saying? Who's giving them these charters to do things, but the system of it is tied to the Roman system, you know what I mean?
Right.
From the outset of the 13 colonies. Correct. You know what I mean? So
okay, yeah, keep cooking, bro.
All right, bet money. So Carolina, 8 Lord proprietors, including Earl Shaftesbury, John Locke as secretary. You know what I mean? I give you the time frame, 1663 to 1669, based on feudal Roman charter. So the whole Carolina colony in the 13 colonies, when the English claimed it with the Lord proprietors involved, is tied to the feudal Roman charter. All right. And William Penn, as most popular y'all know, Pennsylvania, 1681, free and absolute proprietor under crown. He's a different situation too. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna go into, not tonight though, because I don't want to throw nobody off. We're sticking to the blueprint. You know what I'm saying? But these names, when you hear them later on, I want y'all to know why we bring them back up. You know what I mean? Right. So I want you, they key people in the whole situation of things. Now, he's gonna be brought up in a ways because of Benjamin Franklin going to where? Pennsylvania.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where's the first Negro conventions at? Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? Either way, Roman legal foundations, imperial and dominium. You know what I'm saying? In the Roman Empire, conquered lands became imperial provinces held in dominion, ownership by Caesar, administrated through procurators or proconsuls. You know what I mean? Now, this word proconsul, you know what I'm saying? That proconsul part, in ancient history, when Rome went into Africa, North Africa, they used the term when they conquered Carthage, right? Was the Hannibal, the Punic Wars, you know what I mean? Yeah. After they conquered, it was wars when you read about it, they called it African pronucleus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Pronucleus, you know what I mean? That's going to be tied to this word right here, proconsul. You know what I mean? As far as a region and how it is being governed now underneath a Roman
city-state type root,
correct. Yep. You know what I mean? That people might not understand that. This is be reading about it, but they don't know how that works.
So this is how they do it. They gotta name it to control it.
Yeah, you might want to pull up that definition for people to see it, because they've probably never seen that before. You know what I mean? If you have a chance, you know what I mean, while I'm reading this, you can just show them just the African pronucleus. I mean, Latin, Greek shit, either way. But however, that's there though for y'all to go research, you know what I mean, how that really work out. Civil law authority though. These charters reference perpetual succession, corporate body politic, and common seal, all language from Roman civil corporation law. You heard that?
Yep.
Roman civil corporation law. You heard? Corpus juris civilis. You heard me?
Yep.
DK with the third. 3 eyes, that means when I say that in my Geechee translation. The colonies were in effect civil corporations underneath Roman civil law, translated through the canon and feudal channels. See what I'm saying? So I'm just giving the layout, the Lord proprietors. So ain't gonna be no dodging, no smoke. Like I'm giving you the foundation what these people already coming over with, trying to even set up the 13 colonies. You see what I'm saying? It all tied to this Roman situation, though. You feel me? So at the end of the day, the ecclesiastical parallel, ecclesia, you know what I mean? It says the Bishop of Durham model traced to Palatine privileges granted to bishops by papacy in Norman times. Again, a Roman church state hybrid. See, all of this system is connected to how they came over here with the crown underneath the 13 colonies. They were all still related systematic wise from what they all came out of over there. See what I'm saying? It says, thus, the Lord proprietors combine secular governor and ecclesiastical ordinary. He could appoint clergy, issue rights, and hold courts, spiritually and temporally. It's the position that the Lord proprietors had, y'all.
Right, big dogs.
I want you to know what the position they in, huh? So they know, you know what I mean? So now Carolina, America, blueprint, 1669. We got the fundamental Constitution of Carolina, drafted by John Locke with the E. For the Lord's proprietors is pure neo-Roman statecraft. Article 97. Ooh, I told y'all I'm gonna give it to you. I was just playing with y'all real quick. But Article 97 within the fundamental Constitution of Carolina, which is tied to the Roman system. It's kind of tied to people who would be able to come into this Carolina situation underneath this Lord proprietor Carolina colony, and they document in Article 97 underneath this Constitution who could come underneath their colonial society, right? In Carolina. Now, Article 97 recognizes Jews, heathens, and dissenters as lawful congregants, an echo of Roman religio licia, meaning the lawful religion. So Carolina, the law proprietors, they literally knew the people around them in their colony, you know what I'm saying, in the system. And there was already understanding that if you come into this situation, you in a freedman position, you know what I'm saying, or you in this position, or you the indigenous people, you know what I mean? You're the labor group, you know what I mean? It wasn't just as simple as how people say it's just black or white,
right?
You know what I mean? And I got some more articles tied to this Constitution. So Article 1 and 5 establish a hereditary nobility, which means landgraves and caciques. Oh, that's CACIQUS, parallel to Roman senatorial orders. You know what I'm saying? So I want to make sure you get this. Article 43 through 45 permit creation of manors and court barons. Shout out to my Baron Somni brothers outside.
And which Constitution? Which document?
This is the fundamental Constitution of Carolina.
Making sure everybody on the same page.
Drafted by John Locke with the E. 1669. You heard me? Yeah. This is Roman system, but I want to give you a little backdrop, you heard me? So I want to make sure y'all get that. Article 110 through 111 define freedmen. Here we go. Because last week, so I want to make sure you get the connection.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So within
these about Constitution. Within these articles, it's literally, you know what I'm saying? It's going to show that they knew about this term freedmen and free men
within the
Right.
Roman concept of the system we breaking down from last week. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So Article 110 through 11 define freemen, slaves, and elite men. That's going to be spelled Leetman, Men, excuse me. Leetmen. It says codifying status. You know what I mean? Civilitis. I'm gonna spell that too. You know how I mess up these Greek words. I
Yeah,
want you to
because
look it up.
look, because Kobe came
Yeah.
right on time to bring John Locke.
Yeah, John Locke with the E on the
But
end.
it's
You know
spelled
what
with
I'm
the E on the end for sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But this word is spelled Civittatis, as in Roman civis, which is liberty. Like last week we were breaking that term libertina, which is
Yeah.
tied to freedmen, right? Servy, heresy. You know what I mean? So in short, Carolina was a laboratory for a feudal Roman province in the New World. A laboratory. It was like an experiment. Like, we're gonna let these people come into this area right here of the colonies, you know what I'm saying? And see how we can develop a system. You know what I mean? We can have our hierarchies. You know what I mean? This is the
Yep.
Lord proprietors. You know what I mean? So continuity, American system now. I want to make sure you get it all connected now. You know what I mean? Now, when the revolution came, Americans did not abolish this structure. They didn't abolish the structure they got from the Lord proprietors tied to the 13 colonies. The
Right.
House of Burgess in Virginia, which is the longest standing, and I'm gonna bring them up in this bill tonight. I want to make the House of Burgess, Virginia, all right, which is just north of what? The Carolinas. Tied to what? Lord proprietors. You know what I mean? So all this is tied to the blueprint and all of their systems, and even down to terms they're using within what we call the European, and then this hybrid of this Romanistic ideal of using these jurisprudence terms. You know what I mean? So I think that is, and that's why even Africa, as we've been telling people today, calling yourself an African American, has what?
Mhm.
A Roman
It's a Roman
idealship to it.
identity. Exactly.
Yeah, you know what
So
I'm
that's
saying?
so while I let it sit up here and marinate for a little second for the people who paying attention. So this is the first mention of Africa.
Period.
So, and it's a Roman province, and it was just a small little colony on the continent of Africa. Okay,
Make sure you
so
understand that.
it's very important. So when they came back and renamed the whole continent, that you got to know this was Rome's way of showing dominance because they named things that they own and control. This proves in 146 BC they had a Roman province called Africa. That ain't no coincidence. So we wanted to make sure. So we showing y'all, so Africa, freedmen in the America story. Why was it all branded together through these specific terms that already existed through Rome? This is what we showing y'all right now. This was the walk up. This was the greatest creation of Rome. America is the greatest creation of Rome. And so this is what Mac is showing you. Different Lord proprietors was put in position to be able to play out this Roman control when the 13 colonies was first established. So we're making sure we all on the same page. This is how it all was configured. All right, so we done broke down Africa, so we can gave that y'all go do your own rabbit hole on that, but we can, we just wanted to point it out because it's Roman influence and it's tied to the Freeman story. But you got it, Matt.
Yeah. So I wanted to give them a little backdrop because I said it last week. I tried to keep my word. You know what I'm saying? John Locke, you know what I mean? The fundamental Constitution of 1669. You know what I mean? We just showed you who the freedman is, though, right? We just showed you. So if a person come in to the Carolina colony as a Jew or a heathen, you know what I mean? And these different dissenter positions, right? You know what I mean? You know why it's tied to the system, you know what I mean? And not necessarily tied to what we call ourselves in the classifications of their systems, by the way. Shout out to Derek when he said that. Yeah, Washington, D.C., District of Columbia, that's Roman. You're on point. You know what I mean? The Capitol Hill, all that shit is tied to the Roman. You know what I mean? It's all there. You see, so
it ain't hidden.
There ain't nothing like, where it coming from. You know what I mean? So, however the case, I want to go back real quick as you got the populist mixed constitution and all this right here. Leave that here for a second right there. You know what I'm saying? Let that marinate for folk, right? So I want to give them the backdrop because before I gave you the Carolina joint, because I remember I told y'all about that Jew in Carolina. So if you're looking for a source, I just gave you the source of Jews being in Carolina. in 1669, and that the people of the colony, the Lord proprietors, were acknowledging that there was Jews there in Carolina in 1669. And I guess you might not understand that those Jews in 1669 looked a certain type of way. Ain't that some shit? However the case, you know what I mean? Just to point that out. Okay, so the origins of the House of Burgess. You know what I'm saying? So it was founded in July 30th, 1619, Jamestown. You hear that date, y'all? 1619.
Yeah, and all the time with the Pan-African story.
That's tied to that Pan-African shit, ain't it?
Yep.
1619, that's their date, ain't it? But because Jamestown, are they founded Jamestown? Everybody that came into North America that was black came through Jamestown? Okay. Either way, we just gave you Carolina. That's the English. We still talking about just the English still. See, because this is tied to our English law. So I don't want to throw you off for all my Spanish folk out there that's tied to the understanding they came up in that Spanish system, Spain, you know what I mean, or the Portuguese, or if you're in French territory to this day. Shout out to my zones, right? They came out of the French situation, you know what I mean? I'm just speaking on 13th colony English common law, right? So House of Burgess, you know what I mean? So charter basis, you know what I mean? The Virginia Company, you know what I'm saying? Of London Charter, 1606, 1609, 1612. Purpose, to create a local assembly of freemen empowered to make laws and consonant to reason and to repugnant to the laws of England. Remember this, laws of England, English common law, which is based still in the Roman system, all right? That phrasing, the consonant to reason, is straight from the Roman lex naturalis doctrine. Law derived from reason. And reason in Latin would be like ratio, like how we do math. Ratio.
Yeah, your rationale.
Yeah, ratio, rationale, reason. You heard me? So the same Cicero or Justinian, remember that term, that's going to be tied to a lot of these things later on that you're going to see tied to terms in front of what the English law is borrowing from. Just to give you all a quick synopsis of that. Ideal later echoed by Blackstone. Remember this guy Blackstone? So I'm about to bring him up in a minute. You know what I'm saying? Blackstone and Jefferson. You know who Jefferson is, right? You know what I mean? So from this birth, the Burgess were operating as a municipal senate. Remember that word, senate? Senator. You know what I mean? Of a Roman style civilis.
Hey, so right, so right now on the slide, right?
Leave it down, yeah.
So they got showing you consuls, which is the executive, your senate, right? Which you just named, your aristocracy, your assemblies. Then you said they had assembly of freedmen. That's the people, right? So they had they models for checks and balances. This is why. So here go a crazy part. People need to understand this. It's not that the Roman system was really ingenious in certain ways. You got to understand, this is why it was this is why when they came to America, they basically blended the Roman system for the organization with the Indian system, what they had learned about sovereignty and different things. So they made a blend of that in America. But we trying to show you that all of the terms came from Rome, and this is what allowed the Roman influence to get back in control. This when the freedman term came into play, because this is their term.
That part.
Go ahead, Matt.
So within that, the Burgess, the Burgess is tied to the term borough. You know what I mean? It's a French term. When we hear today, people say borough. I want you to leave it right now. Keep moving this slide along because all this correlates to this. See what I'm saying? And they're gonna say Burgess from Old French burgess means citizens of a borough. All right. Civis equals citizens of a civitas. That's C-I-V. I know I messed it up. C-I-V-I-T-A-S. All right. And it's still within this ideal where you see here, civic virtues and all this is tied to these people. And now a borough, which is also spelled burgess, B-U-R-G-U-S, Latin, fortified town or administrative post. Burgess. You know what I'm saying? Now with assembly, parliament, right? We got the parliaments and shit. From Latin parliamentum, to speak publicly. You know what I mean? Virtues and shit, speaking publicly, and you know what I mean? Your republic ideals and stuff like that, right? You know what I'm saying? Cities, council of elders. Now, where they get that from is going to go back to something previous to the Roman system, because even in the Bible, they tell you that what? A council of elders.
Right.
Tied to that synagogue of freedmen. You know what I'm saying? There was a council of elders tied to the synagogue of freedmen, if y'all didn't know, right? Okay, now.
And people got to understand this connection between law and religion. They are intertwined often for a reason, because everybody who was in creation of law believed that there was certain things that come from God. That's why it's so much mixed between law and religion.
It messes it up, because we've been mixing the dope with this for a minute, and now we got results of people debating about dogmatic things versus the lawful part of it. You know what I'm saying? Right. And we want to make sure that the party, shout out to the ministry, the ecclesia, or our assembly of the party, that we know, tell you that we're not talking about those things. So shout out to y'all for understanding and being patient with our breakdown. You know what I mean? But structural, since we're giving you parallels of the structural understanding of this, the Roman Senate, you know what I'm saying? The Roman Republic now, deliberate upper body. That's what Senate is considered, like how we got senators today. You know what I mean? Right. So the House of Burgesses, deliberate local body. This is Virginia. Don't forget, the House of Burgesses is the first body in Virginia dealing with these things. Lord proprietors. You know what I mean? House of Representatives, State Assembly. That's going to be later on when we get to United States of America. You know what I mean? They adopt this Burgess Assembly. Remember, George Washington was tied to what? The House of Burgesses.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, council, executive magistrates. You know what I mean? Governor and council. Executive power under crown. You know what I mean? House of Burgesses, that's what their position is in Virginia. Executive power under the crown. You know what I'm saying? So president and governance. Now, I'm gonna keep going sliding down because it's a lot there. You hear me? It's a lot there. So just as Roman citizens in colonies elected local councils under imperial oversight, Virginia's freemen elected burgesses. To understand the terms they're using in Virginia. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Citizens, not yet sovereigns. They're in citizens of position in Virginia, but they're not in a sovereign position because they're still what? To the crown.
Hey, so right when you say that, it's tie here. So basically the Roman concept was that you had officium, right? Or duty to the common good. This was basically you had certain things that you had to uphold as a citizen or whatever your status was, but they all revolved around these type of morality type clauses. So the public morality as the foundation of Republican order. So they showing a certain duty that you had to have to be a citizen. To get to these different statuses, you had to prove your worth to Rome. You see what I'm saying? To the crown. So pay attention to that, because this is the same way that they build it in America. All right. So we pointing them parallels out so you can realize it, and we giving you the terms so you can go, we don't hide nothing. We want to build with y'all. So y'all take it and go run with it. Go ahead, Matt. You got it.
Yeah, so from Burgess, because we gonna move forward, you know what I mean? Because timing, I want to make sure I give you these two groups right here, especially Carolina and Virginia, because a lot of people that do their genealogy, you know what I'm saying, they got ancestors that came into these areas like 1619, right? You have to understand who is the executives that's bringing you in on a ship, on a port, and bringing you in for labor or selling you, or what position you were in, or if you was already here, or you going out on that port. The House of Burgesses are the ones that's dealing with it, right? Just like the Lord proprietor in that position in the Carolina. They're the ones dealing with the people that's coming in, what position they're going to be treated as, what laws they could be underneath. Because these colonies were all moving a little bit different in certain cases. But they're still going to pay to the crown. Like how today we got states, and all the states got the constitutions, but everybody's state don't do the same thing exactly.
Right.
You know
in Rome, they called them city states.
City states, exactly. Exactly. Man.
So it went from city states, and we just call them states, right? And we have cities within that state. Right. So we separated both because it was, but the reason why they separated is much bigger over here. You see what I'm saying? So you can have a whole bunch of cities within the state versus over there. That area wasn't that big in Europe. You know what I mean? This was the biggest conquered land they ever got. Until they got Africa next. Go ahead.
Yeah, that part. No, you good. So within that, we're gonna leave that there to spirits of law, England, because like I said, we're gonna let everybody soak that up right there. You know what I'm saying? Because again, I want to make sure I catch this last part right here of this. Thus, the U.S. Congress is not a break from Rome, but a maturation. You know what I'm saying?
No, you said it right the first time.
I know we are geeky, dog. I can't help. I mean, sometimes I can't. You know what I'm saying? But no, of the Roman provincial system. You know what I mean? Into a federalized republic. You know what I'm saying? So within the context where we're trying to show you the parallel, just off of just even two Lord proprietors, this example, it's way more there. You know what I mean? You can go all the way up to New York and come down. We can go to the Caribbean. We can show you, even if it's not in North America, if you're saying the crown's involved, especially the British, they're dealing with the same system. Same system. You know what I mean? Slavery and all the different things of labor, freedmen, etc., middle class, etc., Senate positions, you know what I mean? All that stuff. So yeah, so I want to make sure y'all got that. So from on a primary source trail, so you're gonna look it up, you know what I'm saying? The first Virginia Charter, 1606, 1609, the second Virginia Charter, 1619, records of General Assembly, you know what I'm saying, in 1765. Blackstone commentaries. Can I get Blackstone? Can we pull them up real quick so we move any forward? Don't want to get these individuals out the way, because I see you got that. We're gonna come right back to that right after we bring Blackstone.
What to come say? Oh, you talking about Montesquieu? What you was talking about?
We're gonna come right back here to this Montesquieu thing. Right after we get this Blackstone, the spirit of the English thing got to be laid out.
While I get this pull, show this comment real quick. I do.
Oh yeah, we do. You know what I mean? You definitely could just tap into the Autonomous Party, the social club. You know what I'm saying? Or you could definitely email us at members at the Autonomous Party. You know what I mean? We'll definitely get back to you. We appreciate you reaching out.
And you could also join our Patreon for free. Join our free version of the Patreon, so you can be in contact with us. It'll have your email. We'll have you in the system. So that's the free option as well. You can join our Patreon. That's for the rest of y'all. You're interested in help with genealogy, want to know more how we put our bills together and do our research, tap into the Patreon. All right, Matt. I got you right here.
I bet. So we're going to pull Buddy up real quick. You know what I'm saying? Let me go back up here in my notes, you know what I mean? Because I have to keep this alive.
All right.
Show his face real quick, man.
There we go.
All right, bet. So the guy you see there, you know what I mean? He obviously is Blackstone, you know what I mean? And he's an earl. He's in a position. Blackstone commentaries is what it's tied to, his name. You know, show his name one more time for everybody, because you know what I mean? William Blackstone. One more time, y'all see it, right? Sir William Blackstone. All right. So this guy really though is what people be sleeped on. So he's the secret right here within all this. How English law, which is tied to what we gave you guys about how it's entrenched in the common Roman jurisprudence of Latin. You know what I mean? It's him. You know what I'm saying? London, England. You know what I'm talking about? This man right here got a lot of influence. You know what I mean? He kind of reminds me like James Anderson later on, his influence. But this guy at this time, I want people to see him. You know what I'm saying? So Blackstone's role in the transmissions, repeat this game. The commentaries of the law of England, 1765 to 1769, was a master digest that every colonial lawyer used. All right? Jefferson, remember these other people, they influenced by him. You know what I mean? Jefferson, Adams, Madison, Marshall, all these American folks over here, right? White, whatever you want to say, Anglo, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? This is they all studied after this man. All right. This is through those 4 volumes, Blackstone standardized how English common law absorbed Roman and canon doctrines. Thus, when the U.S. founders quoted common law, they were really citing a Romanized, ecclesiastically filtered system.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, people talk about civil liberty mortuus all the time, especially the more type that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And they bring up, you know what I mean, the system of being legally dead and coming out of that system and corporate and all that stuff right there. But what's really tied to civil liberties mortuus is Roman, you know what I mean? And this guy, because of this English law, is how it gets tied to how they use it within our system in America, underneath the English common law system. Y'all caught that, right? You heard me right, Monte, right? Did I say anything?
Yeah.
Right, okay, so I say so. The core passage in book 4 of his commentaries. Remember, this is his commentary. He's tied to this word. Civil liter mortuus appears in his commentary. Chapter 19. This is of attainder. Blackstone writes, an attained felon in civil liter mortuus, he is dead in law, though living in fact. His blood is corrupted. His estate is forfeited, and he can neither sue nor be sued. This definition came straight from Justinian. I told you that Justinian, right? Earlier I said, remember the Justinian, right? That's the JUSTINIANS, digest. It's going to be 4819 if you want to go look that up. It says which
I'm showing them the book right now.
Oh yeah, show them the commentary so they know we got it. Just let them know we ain't just, you know what I mean, bullshit. We ain't kicking the boo-boo. Whoop to do though, y'all. You heard me, y'all. This is all source material of this system. The blueprint. You know what I mean? So basically, within the digest of 4819, which declared that one convicted of certain crimes, perdit civitum, loses his civil life. His civil life, you heard that? Not your real life.
Your civil life.
You know what I mean?
It's a difference.
Bro, I was thinking about what's happening over there in China right now with the civil credit score shit they got going on when people are being judged from the social standpoint of what, you know what I mean? And then you're civilly dead, you can't go rent. I was like, this is interesting. I don't know what's happening right now in the world. Communism and all these different systems people say people got, you know what I mean? But we went through it too. Redlining, right? You told you black, you can't go over here. That's you civilly dead to walking over here. You know what I mean? You can't come vote in our county. You know what I'm saying? You're civilly dead in that position. You know what I'm saying? However though, you know what I'm saying? So for Blackstone, as I read that shit, it says how America's adopted it. Colonial codes. All right. So Blackstone's commentaries were the primary textbook in American law schools until the mid 1800s. Every colony until the mid 1800s. I'm going to say it again. Every colony from an early state adopted his categories. So when we hear about civil liter mortuus and how somebody's being treated within the jurisdiction of the colonies and then the states, they got it from him. See what I'm saying? So I'm gonna give you all of Blackstone. Then I'm gonna let Monte ride on the screenshots. We're gonna get to the earlier parts so we can walk y'all down on that. This is the penal statutes in slavery. Early U.S. state codes. New York, 1829. 1, for example, still declared certain convicts civilly dead. The enslaved were likewise treated as civilly dead persons, alive biologically, but indistinguished in law. Post-Civil War translation. Post-Civil War translation. The 14th Amendment, Freedmen. The 14th Amendment attempted to reverse civil death by statute, granting citizenship equals new civil life.
Life through federal citizenship. Yes, sir.
Ain't that some shit? Ain't that some shit?
So wait, let's stop right here because they need to understand. So, you know, I break it down in the layman's. You the master teacher, right? So let me tell them. So basically, what's happening right here is we're showing you civiliter mortuus is an actual legal practice. It comes from the Roman system. Remember, based on your status in Rome, was dependent on how you were treated. All right. So now you have this definition, which means you are civilly dead on paper, and your status and your standing, you have none, even though you actually are living and breathing. So when you hear the Moors and they talk about the straw man and the all caps, a lot of them may not know how to explain it fully because they're not taking it all the way back. You think it's just some conspiracy theory. It's actually real legal practice, but you're not going to see these terms used in your contracts and things that you do right now today because the system has matured. Ain't that what they said, Meg? It's a maturation of the Roman system that we got here in America. And that's when they were saying that in 1700. So what you think it is in 2025, bro? You know what I'm saying? It didn't get worse. It got better. They got more tools to pull this off. Go ahead, though, Mac.
Hey, the dude Maurice in the chat said, ain't nobody want to message y'all, but we getting messages all day, though.
Hey, man, it sounds like you hate.
So shout out to you. Hey, man, well, I don't know. Hey, Night Chase, if you need the information, though, just tap in and listen. It's cool.
Yeah,
you just sent the message just now.
It'll be noticed. It's okay.
I
We
want to
noticed
you know,
you,
we
brother.
see you in the audience, though. Thank you for pulling up. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
For sure. You civilly dead to me, too. It's cool.
Correct.
So in this situation, oh, he got jokes. Okay, boy, you'll be doing that shit in the chat. We doing it now, senor. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? We see you in the audience. We're gonna talk to you now. However, though, we pull up to everybody. Appreciate everybody pulling up. If you like it or not, you here and you tapping in. You gonna do your research, and if you can debunk it, we always tell you what it is. You can come see us now. You know what I'm talking about? But however the case, this whole situation is laid out that way. I mean, I had to take a little, come back to my notes though. You know what I mean?
So you walked us into America. You just showed. So let's pick it up there. So you got Adams with a defense of the constitutions, and he had quotes from Polybus by name, and then you had they advocate the bicameral legislature and balanced power. So this was all it was. So basically, there's documents in America with them same proprietors and the people that they affiliated with, mentioning by name different Roman principles and people in Rome, saying that this was their inspiration for creating the law in this way. And Adams was one of them people. And he had, you can look this up, the defense of the constitutions in 1787. And they was basically saying why they needed constitutions in America, but they were just going to do it a little bit differently. But the basis still came from Rome, because just being real, everything Rome created was not bad. It was the human element. Anytime power is to be distributed, humans can take it and do the wrong thing with it. That's everybody's susceptible to corruption. They wrote about this in any book that you believe in. They say that, right, Mac? There's always some corruption. So the system, the reason why the empire, so they say, failed is because it imploded from within, but not because some of the legal principles didn't make sense. This is why when they came over here, they was talking about instilling that some of those same principles. And so Adams was an example.
That whole part. Adams, boy, let me say it. Benjamin Franklin and certain people, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They all got the vibes from certain Blackstone, though, like the Blackstone company is popular now. I heard somebody from Blackstone recently has just sold a lot of their stock in that company. Interesting enough. But Blackstone. Yeah, Blackstone. So now remember, Sir William Blackstone, because this is where civilly dead comes to in our system and how we adopted it from the colonial time to the state. You know what I mean? Let's give you some parallels real quick. And you can go to the next slide, Monte. We gonna live. I want Adam. They see it right there. They got the screenshot. See House of Burgess. All that shit's right there, and I covered that. We want them.
I already hit that. 1619. Yeah, I know what it is. You look up the House of Burgess. Somebody else even mentioned. I put it up here on the screen. He said there was something called the Burgess Roll before it became the Freedmen's Roll.
Right, because you have to be enrolled in that colony.
Right, you got to know who you are.
You know what I mean? To whatever position we're gonna have you in. You know what I mean? If you got laborers with you, all that, they're accounting for stuff, all this. You know what I mean? Now, I know we on Franklin, right? You on Franklin. You know what I mean? That's Franklin, right? Benjamin Franklin.
Yep.
All right, hold on. Let me make sure I got it right.
So basically in his in his writings, he was referencing different Roman principles when it came to law and how to legislate And this is why they are the founders of what happened in America. All right. So now we got to get off of right now. We just breaking down the fact that the system that was created here was not something that these new Europeans created. They used a system that already existed as well as a system. Yes, that they were in. They used parts of it and then used the Indian way of sovereignty and blended them together.
Right. We're gonna do that because that's gonna show how we're gonna get the Indians in here, particular group of Indians, particular group. You know what I mean? But either way, all right. So Benjamin Franklin, he had so much Roman ideals. Most people don't know because we obviously brought him up with Lee Cummings. You know what I mean? Observations of mankind.
Yep.
Right. So when he's looking at it, he has this like he learned from Blackstone and all that too. You know what I'm saying? They all, you know what I mean, getting their information and drawing from certain things. So Franklin's Roman imprint in the three overlapping spheres: political, philosophy, and civic architecture and moral culture. Benjamin Franklin. All right. Political philosophy. It's tied to that same word, civitas, Romania. Okay. Roman idea, right? Citizens bound by a shared law and virtue. Franklin's use, republican self-government through educated property-holding citizens. You heard that?
Yep.
Benjamin Franklin. Okay, this is his Roman source. Cicero, you showed that earlier. Cicero. You know what I mean? You showed it on the screenshot earlier, so anybody can go back and see it, right? But then it says De Officiis, virtue in the foundation of liberty. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Franklin's poor Richard maxims on thrift and temperance recast Stoic Cicerone virtue. You know what I mean? The Polybius thing you showed earlier, Franklin. You know what I mean? He's influenced by that. He says
it got that Poor Richard's Almanac mentioned in here too. It said it echoes the Roman moral aphorisms. That's exactly what you're breaking down.
Right now. All that's tied to this. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to say that the Polybius the Fourth, which is tied to there, you see Polybius, right?
Yeah.
Right. So mixed constitution, monarchy plus artistry and democracy. Franklin in 1754, Albany Plan, and later advocacy for bicameral legislature, balanced executive and popular powers. You heard me?
Yep.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It says Sentinus Popular Scoop. You know, I'm going to get that right. So, you know what I mean? POPULUSQUE, Romanist, right? It says, we the people, civic sovereignty, replacing the monarch, exactly as the Roman populace replaced the kings after Tarquin. That's TARQUIN. You know what I'm saying? Now, the civic design, Res Republica, right? It's tied. This is all Benjamin, by the way, Franklin. Now, city as a moral school. Franklin modeled Philadelphia Civic Associations, Library Company, 1731, American Philosophical Society, 1743, and the Academy, 1751. On the Collegia, remember we brought up the Collegia?
Collegiate.
And how them people, the Freedmen Synagogue had collegians, they were able to assemble underneath. You know what I mean?
Teach.
Right. He had that same structure. You see what I'm saying? Collegiate. But this for he had an idea for his people who were coming in and how they gonna come together within underneath the Roman system of governance.
Teach what they want to
broke
teach.
Away. Right before they broke away from the colony. This is before now. They broke away from the United States of America. Right? So all these things that is written, all before they broke away from the United States of America. So architecture, the Pennsylvania State, you know what I'm saying? The Pennsylvania State House, Independent Hall, follows Palladian symmetry drawn from virtuous day architecture, mechanical Roman treaties. You heard me? Symbols. Franklin helped design the first Great Seal, 1776. Proposal. Moses divided the sea. This is Benjamin Franklin doing this. 1776 proposal. Moses dividing the sea. This is Benjamin Franklin. You know what I mean? And it says, though not adopted, the final seal kept Latin mottos. E pluribus unum.
Right. That's on the money.
Right, that's on your money. Roman phrases expressing the same Republican unity he preached. You know what I'm saying? So
Hey,
the legal, go ahead.
let's
Yeah.
break down republic.
Go ahead, give it to him.
So a government in which the power belongs to a body of citizens entitled to vote and is exercised by the leaders and representatives elected by those citizens to govern according to law. But then it says often republics are a country, state, or territory having a republic. All right. Also, a usually specified government of such a country, state, or territory. And then you have a country, state, or territory that is headed by someone other than a hereditary monarch, but whose citizens do not hold real power.
That part.
So you got multiple ways that this can be established and governed, all depending on who's in charge of the republic. But this don't say nothing about a democracy.
Nothing.
Yeah. So go. I just want them to understand where we at with it. So when they come over here, they're doing a republic. They want to create republics that are similar to Roman fashion, but they want to do them in their own way after the American Revolution, because they didn't have a choice prior to the American Revolution. They doing what Rome. The charters is what gave them the right to do what they doing. So they had to report back. That's why they had them Lord Proprietors that you was talking about.
Right.
But then after exactly. But then after the Revolutionary War, they started saying, "Hey, we finna do our own thing. We gonna keep some of this stuff, but we gonna make it in our own image, right?" So that's when you get these republics. You got them talking about doing different things, but they're gonna do it a little bit different because the republics that was coming from Rome, if you didn't have the proper status, you had no say so in your affairs. Right. So when they reinstituted this system in America after the Civil War, we're telling you that the status that they gave these new citizens was the one that was the lesser status. Where you don't really have the political power that you think you do, and when it comes to federally, but you do within your state still. It's funny how that still stick around. But go ahead, Matt. We'll make sure they understand the republic part.
Right. So within the legal institutional influence of Roman law, you heard me? And and through Blackstone, you know what I mean? Since Franklin's London years, 1757 to 1775, it immersed him in the same Blackstonian lectures that distilled Justinian Corpus Juris Civilis for English use. He pressed for codified, reason-based law rather than an ad hoc royal decrees. Going back to that Cicero thing that we showed them earlier. Lex ratio summa. These are the Roman terms, you know what I mean? Civic equality before law, mirroring the Roman Constitutio. Remember last week? We brought up the Roman Constitutio of 212 tied to the Emperor Carcalia. Remember that? Oh, that right there? 212 AD. This is what he's borrowing from in his ideal of how to deal with going forward. Benjamin Franklin. This is that made all freedmen citizens. Is president for later American naturalization ideals. That was smoke right there. I don't think they caught that. Maybe.
So explain that. Explain that for them so they understand that last phrase of what you just said.
All right. So as we did last week, we showed you how the freedmen, the synagogue of freedmen, went from being underneath a Roman system to not, and then another emperor comes in and says, you're not going to be underneath the Roman system, and they're coming after you, to later now, Homeboy Carcalia passing the edict to bring you back underneath the system, but as actual citizens. See what I'm saying? So you went from being in a freedman position to being in a rebellious position to being now citizens. And don't forget, there was already people in citizens position too at that time. When we go back and watch it, we broke that down. Like Paul, you know what I mean? But at the same time, now in America, Benjamin Franklin is looking at the same process for what's the equality for everybody to be considered citizens, and how do they go through the stages of this system from whatever they are coming out of to into this new system for how they want to govern everybody in a republic for which it stands. You heard me? So that was Benjamin Franklin.
So Franklin right here too. They had him compared to Cincinnatus from Rome, right? It's because he advocated for rotating the office, your position, right? So that he the one the term limit. Cincinnatus was one of the first people to speak on this. It's from the Roman system. So then Franklin come in saying the same thing, that you are a public servant, but for only a certain amount of time. Then you go back to real life, basically. So they was debating about this. Once after the revolution, they had a whole bunch of debates. So you got a quote here from James Madison. And he was basically saying, return officers to private life. Even with the military, like it's not supposed to be a lifelong mission. At some point, you're supposed to be able to retire, right? They all got this from Roman principles. So note to the convention, James Madison spoke on this. So Max steady detailing what different conversations was had. Because if you go through history, you see all these conventions. They was meeting up, deciding on how was we going to run this law in this new system that we just created.
So within that, Franklin admired Addison's play, Cato in 1713, the most popular Roman Republic drama in the colonies. All right, you know what I'm saying? It says he quoted Cato's stoic lines in his journals and printed them in the Pennsylvania Gazette, the play's closing vow. What is piety? It is what a piety it is that we can die, but once we serve our country, became revolutionary scripture. You know what I'm saying? Benjamin Franklin was pulling from a lot of things. You know, don't forget he was the grand master in Pennsylvania. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So empire and unity, Roman engineering. You know what I'm saying? That's all within this context. You know what I mean? Of primary sources we can cite for this to give you all that too. Dealing with Benjamin in that time frame is going to be the Articles of Belief, 1728, 1754, the Albany Plan of Union, 1769, the Letter of Lord Kames, Kames, 1776, the Great Seal of Proposal, and then 1789, the autobiography. You know what I mean? So all these things will give you plenty of sources if you want to research more about Benjamin Franklin and his connection and influence by the Roman system, just to give you that. Because we don't hold him off too long, but I got to give him this honorable mention. You know what I mean? So y'all can see all the connection. Correct. So
and you got more on the screen. Look up, you know, tied to Franklin, but he referenced it too many times for us to name every single one in this show. You would be all day.
You know what I mean? So to Pennsylvania, because we're gonna get to these Indians. What's next on the screenshot? Because I don't want to. You don't say that.
Okay, so let's go past what we did, Franklin. So we already broke down all of. So here we are right now. Who the Nazi?
Yeah, okay. I'm already around on time, so we're gonna go into William Penn. We're gonna leave this here right here like that. You know what I'm saying? So William Penn. I'm saying, and I gotta hold on. I gotta pull it up. Give me 1 second. Yeah, give me 1 second. William Penn, he got a situation. So it's saying it's a lot of stuff going on with William Penn. You know what I mean? And 1644 to 1718. You know what I'm saying? Now, below. It's going to be a structured map I'm going to lay out in this about William Penn, because I got to walk him into how we even get to the Huguenots or the Iroquois and the Law of Peace and how that all works together. I want Benjamin Franklin and this guy together in Pennsylvania and how they are able to make this thing go to where it's going. You know what I mean? So the Quakers, you know what I mean? The Quaker Commonwealth model is tied to, you know, Roman president, but into a colonial governance while also producing, it says, first Indian unions. You know what I mean? You heard that, right?
The first Indian union.
The Quaker Commonwealth model is the ones that's adopting this ideal of dealing with an Indian union style federative treaties and stuff. Like they're the ones that's making this within Pennsylvania, William Penn and all that, right? So this is Penn received 1681 Charter of Pennsylvania, giving him true and absolute propriety and lordship, language lifted directly from Roman civil law and Justinian Corpus Juris Civilis. Yeah.
Lord proprietor.
You know what I mean? Lord proprietor. He's in a Lord proprietor position. He's in dominion, which means he has ownership of land based off the crown. Imperium, jurisdictional authority. You know what I'm saying? So basically, lex provincia is going to be tied to that. The fame of government, 1682. Penn's fame acted like a provincial Roman charter by cameral legislature, Senate, and Assembly. You know what I mean? Law founded on reason. Laws must be suitable to reason of mankind. That's why he had to go into that land, even though when he got that charter, because when his pops did, you know what I'm saying, the crown acknowledged it, they were like, look, you're going to have to go into that area amongst them Indians and have to work out some kind of thing with them because I can't tell you what to do with them. But go ahead, see what you can do. You know what I'm saying? So Philadelphia itself was planned as a siftis, a gridded, fortified township patterned on Virtrum city ideals. You know what I mean? So the spiritual recast of this is going to be tied to Penn's Quaker creed because Penn was a Quaker. You know what I mean? And he replaced imperial hierarchy with inner law, lex in corde. That's right, Lexincride. You know what I'm saying? This is within his words. There is something of God in everyone. The logos, and it says the stoic reborn as the inner light. He enmissioned a universal civitas day, a peaceable commonwealth bound by conscience rather than sword, much like Augustine's late Roman dream of a city of God. You know what I mean? So they're all being influenced by this Roman shit either way. So Penn gonna get to the Union, the Indian Union, because this is how he had to make this work. And it says the treaty pattern. You know what I mean? Penn 1683 treaty under the elm at Sycamexum and later councils with the Lenape, the Delaware. You know what I mean? Followed the Roman formula of foedus treaty. You know what I'm saying? It says amicita. That's going to be Amicita. Excuse me. M-A. Excuse me. Ooh. M. I'm tripping. A-M-I-C-I-T-I-A. Goddamn.
Okay.
Let's try it one more time. A-M-I-C-I-T-I-A. And that means friendship in Roman. See, I'm trying to teach y'all some language.
So wait.
Yeah.
Let's slow it down for him. So basically what you're saying is that the treaty system is Roman.
Yeah, based off how he did it with the Indians, it was based off the same idealship of how Rome would go into a land and say, we're going to make friendship with this indigenous people and ally with them.
So let's stop right here. Let's be open and honest, right? So it's clear that this system was not meant to come and take things by force because they knew that's not possible.
They couldn't do it. No,
it's not possible. I don't care who
knew he couldn't do it. No.
Yeah. So they went. So this is why when people make those claims, like Indians getting wiped out, no, they wouldn't, bro, because that was not a battle. They was outnumbered and they was in a new territory. They didn't have the resources to do. The Roman got the navy. They got a navy. They got the, you know, they don't have foot soldiers the way you would think now today with machine guns, bro. Whole different time.
With them. He didn't treat specifically with them. The Hanasi.
The COVID say AKA amenity.
Amenity. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thank you. Shout out to God of Grant.
Always on it.
Yo, so within that treaty, it's going to show records describe belts. They call it the wampum. You know what I mean? It says used as a pigmus, and again, amenity, you know what I mean, which is in pledges, a Roman legal term for binding covenant. You know what I'm saying? And then it says confederation vision. You know what I mean? Penn later proposed a council of colonies, 1697, essay toward the present and future peace of Europe, a direct echo of the Roman Council Provincial. This intercolonial federation for peace prefigured both Franklin's 1754 Albany Plan, you know what I mean? See, it's right there on the screen, right there, right?
Correct.
Albany Plan, you know what I mean? Of Union and 1787 U.S. Federal Union. Yeah.
And it was saying how Franklin he was praising the system that he learned when dealing with the Indians, bro. They learned
a lot from dealing with that in that Commonwealth underneath that Lord proprietorship. Not all Lord proprietorships are doing the same thing as William Penn. And
Right.
not all Indians are in the same amity or
Correct.
municipal in this term friendship with these people who are
Because
doing
they're still in a certain
criminal.
area. They haven't made
Right.
it further. They haven't done the expansion yet.
Right.
So
Exactly.
that's important too. So the reason why other Indians wasn't involved, it wasn't because they all had beef, it's because they all hadn't encountered them yet.
Right. That part. Exactly. So in the Indian diplomacy, the Haudenosaunee, Iroquois Confederacy already embodied the same principle they're saying here. But then the treaty they do is his
Yep.
Penn admired it. His deputies negotiated on equal footing, adopting the term chain of friendship. The
Mhm.
same metaphor Romans used. You know what I'm saying? Vinculum, Vinculum, societies, bond of society. Remember the society of friendship, the friendship
Yeah.
society, and all that you hear about, right? You know what I mean? That's what they came in Philadelphia with, right? This is the legal translation. Penn's peace treaties use English common law deeds, but structured them after the Roman foederati civilist system, allied communities within yet autonomous form empire, yet autonomous from the empire, excuse me. Thus, native nations function to Penn much like a social associate in Roman law, partners, not subjects. See what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So when Penn came in, he was like, I'm coming in doing my thing, you see what's happening, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to, you know what I mean? I just want to do my
As
thing here, and
partners, not subjects.
we're
So
gonna chill
remember,
together, we're gonna, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
let's make a distinction right here. So in the Roman system, always existed multiple statuses, and it all
Okay.
depend upon the people that's converging upon you on which status you get. So they can give you the highest one, or they can give you the lowest one. So basically, they saying right now in these treaty agreements, when they come in to meet, they want to deal with everybody as equals, as the same status. Nobody's coming in as lesser. So this is just what they saying and how they building the system. This is why today they still regard the Constitution as one of the greatest legal documents ever, bro, because of the fact that they went and blended multiple philosophies and different logics. Just like right here, say the one palm treaty logic became the ratification model when it came to the Articles of Confederation, bro. So they got different pieces. This ain't Roman, but it's combined with the Roman system. So you see
Right.
both things here to be true that we can prove through history and several different documents and firsthand accounts from these people. Go ahead, though, Mac.
Yeah, so other Indian tribes were not dealing with this system the same way. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And we want to make sure that's because some people like to say because they, the American Indian, they all of us had, you know what I'm saying, a treaty and
Right.
great law of peace, and
and
boy,
it applies to
listen,
all
look,
of us.
yeah,
Yeah.
all of us, boy, we Indians, boy, we got the great law. Boy, you weren't even a part of them. Didn't you say you Choctaw?
Right.
You ain't got no treaty with William Penn.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why nationality, and you said what lineage of the tribes you say you tied to when you're indigenous,
It matters.
heritage matters. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, whatever urban area you might be in. But I have it today, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Because people migrated, the Great Migration. So again, Monte, you want to give them this while I pull up this next one?
Yeah, for sure. So now we done walked into the different moves that was being made upon the creation of 13 colonies. Once they were struggling, couldn't figure it out, they started having to go make friendship, do treaty, the Roman concept, right? So they do what they do, they start making friends. This is how they were able to defeat the crown in the American Revolution. So then after that, here go the synthesis of what America was created to be at that time. So you had the Continental Congress. It equaled the Roman Senate plus the Grand Council fire that came from the Indians. Then the Declaration of Independence merges the Roman and the indigenous principles. All right, so we already knew about the Articles of Confederation. We got the Articles of Association. Thomas Jefferson spoke to this in his drafts. All of this is public record. So we're just showing the merging right now. And why this matters for us is because of the statuses. Remember, there's multiple different statuses that can be had in the Roman system. And freedman is a Roman word. So we're showing how it was created and how it's possible for you to have one status and then with the new name be given a different status. So that's kind of where we at with it right now. We done walked up to, we in Americas, we see what's going on. So it's on you, Mac.
So yeah, hold on, I'll make sure I give you. I want to make sure I post this, on X and our news.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
WilliamThomasParty.com. You can get to our news. I'm gonna give you that thread with everything dealing with William Penn right now. You know what I'm saying? It'll be there for y'all to go check out. You know what I'm saying? Um, and we'll obviously post it afterwards so y'all can find it too. So obviously the Articles of Confederation and everything. And I really just want to make sure I stick on the fact that everybody, I'm not making jokes or nothing either when I say it like that. You know what I mean? Because I'm gonna give you primary treaty and charter references. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I'm just saying it, like, you know what I mean? But it's a treaty that I learned about doing this bill. I want to share that with y'all first, right?
Okay.
And it's called the 1768 Treaty of Fort Stanwix. All right, it's the name of the Treaty of Fort Stanwix, Stanwix. All right, it's tied to the Tecumseh. Shout out to the Tecumseh.
Shout out to him.
You hear me? With the party. This is tied to the Pan-Indian movement, since we were just talking about, you know what I mean, what happened with William Penn in that particular era Confederacy, right? And obviously in this time frame of 1768, we know this is like going into when there's problems with, you know what I mean, everybody like, hold on, what's happening? The British is breaking, the Continental Congress is breaking away from the British, you know what I mean? Things are happening at this time. And certain Indian groups, not the Iroquois, for instance, so I'm going to give this example, are on the other side of it. And they're actually partnering with the British and other people to get weapons and all sorts of stuff. Again, shout out to Tecumseh. He's the leader of attempted to rebuild what we call an intertribal union against Roman-style provincial fragmentation. It says he called for unity to refer to the land as one body. He was trying to bring back everybody like, let's govern our shit within our system of governance and not use none of their system. All right. But later, obviously, 1848 Indian Confederation proposals in Indian Territory would have restored a league, not unlike the Councilum Provincial. Yeah, that's right. We're using these Roman terms, right? You know what I mean? So the charters now, I just want to make sure you get to Tecumseh did try to come back and do some things on a unified level later on, but it was kind of like when they're against it as well. New England, they had a situation. I'm gonna give them a shout out. The Wampanoag, you heard me? It says New England Coast, Roman analog. You know what I mean? They got an old thing called the Municipia Liberty, free towns under treaty. That's going to be tied to these groups right here. It says entered compacts, Plymouth, 1621, treaty with the Massillot. It's establishing mutual peace and trade, the same legal category as Roman feudality. All these people are doing treaties under this Roman system, if they know it or not. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But let me go ahead and give you all these joints. We're gonna keep it moving. So the primary treaty and charter, 1619 to 1646, Virginia charters and Powhatan treaties. All right, those are the things you might want to look for. Key feature: conversion of Confederacy into province. You might want to look into that too. 1754. That's tied to the Virginia charters when I just put that together. 1754. Albany Congress records. You might want to look into that. Iroquois model for colonial union. That's where they got that from. You know what I mean? 1790. That's the first census in America.
Yep.
The Treaty of New York with the Creek Nation, which means the Iroquois and the Creek were underneath the same law of peace, based off a treaty understanding of things.
Right.
It says the first U.S. federal treaty. You heard that? The Creek, the Muskogee, the first U.S. federal treaty. You know what I'm saying? I'll let y'all know that. Not the Iroquois, because the Iroquois already treated with William Penn, who's what?
Right.
A Lord Proprietor. Not
it wasn't the
U.S.
U.S. Yeah.
Exactly. All right now. All right, so 1785, 1791, Hopewell and Holston treaties. That's going to be tied to the Cherokee. Allied Provincial Framework. You know what I mean? So you're showing you how they started to frame themselves within the new system coming in. You know what I mean? Yep. 1830 to 1837. The Maroof treaties, it says client state dissolution into U.S. empire. So all these joints end up coming resolved. As we broke down the Title 25 and all that stuff the last couple of weeks, and what we're talking about, it's all tied to this situation. So I see you got the Great Seal up there. And now I got my parallels so we can, we almost done. I mean, we're almost at 8 o'clock. So I ain't gonna try to give them too much in one joint. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna get
Yeah.
the parallels, and then we're gonna I'm gonna end it off on parallels. I mean,
All right.
almost done. Is the slides coinciding with everything?
Yeah, we walking.
Okay, hold on real quick, because that was my last note. You know what I mean? Tied to this whole blueprint. You know what I mean? And just giving some, because there's a lot more to it, but that's a blueprint for you to go trace and go see and expound upon on your own if you're interested. You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
the the civic republic modeled on the Roman Res Republica. All right. So these are the parallels. Roman source. All right. So it's Res Republica. You know what I mean? Romania, 509 BCE to 27 BCE. American parallel would be Constitutional Republic, 1789 AD to present. Now, the Senate, as we know the word Senate, senators, both systems vest ultimate deliberative power to in Senate. U.S. Article 1(3) mirrors the Roman census. You heard that? It mirrors it. All right? All right. Councils versus presidents. Two annually elected councils check each other's power, echoed in the president-vice president duality. So it's showing you how they borrow that from that too. You know
Right.
what I mean? Veto and tribune powers. The Roman tribune of the plebs could veto acts harmful to citizens. This becomes the president's veto power in judicial review. You can see that
Yep.
parallel. You know what I'm saying? Civic virtue and republic rhetoric. You know what I mean? American founders consciously styled themselves neo-Romans. That's right, neo-Romans. Jefferson's notes on Virginia and Franklin, Cato-like, that's C-A-T-O, like. You know what I'm saying? Pseudonyms show that Rome was their moral archetype for citizenship. You know what I mean? Roman law, American jurisprudence. That's right. Roman corpus, corpus juris civilis, Justinian. That's where it comes from. 529 to 534 CE. U.S. parallels, federal and state common law, doctrines filtered through Blackstone. I told you that boy served me on Blackstone,
Yep.
but rooted in Roman principles. Contracts and trust. That's right. Yeah, do y'all research now. Contracts
Mm-hmm.
and trust. And I know you know this one, Monte, because you broke it down. See, Fiducia, I'm gonna spell this. Fiducia. Look it up. USUFRUCT. And it's gonna be tied to the Cestui Que. The Cestui Que use. Modern trust and equity law. The
Yeah.
Cestui Que trust structure echoed in property and probate.
Yep.
All right. Citizenship and personhood. Civilis Romania, U.S. citizenship, 14th Amendment, mirrors what? The Constitutio Antonio from
Yep.
212 AD.
That we broke down last week with the
We said it.
freedmen.
We said it last week, right? This shit is the same
Put
thing.
you in a freedman position.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Granting citizenship to all free men. Exactly. You know what I mean? Natural law. Cicero's De Legibus. That's going to be Legibus. And Stoic, Stoic. You know what I mean? Ideas of lex naturalis shaped Jefferson's. That's right, Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson's laws of nature and the nature's God in declaration. This is all
Yeah.
tied to our system. All right?
Common law.
All that. Now, Washington, D.C., by the way, mirrors Rome's Urbs Mundus, an independent city state capital, literally. All right. The eagle that we hear about in America, standard, is the American eagle, Latin, motus e pluribus unum, novus ordo seclorum. All right. This is all direct Roman symbolism. If you don't think it is, now you know. All right. Roads, highways, legions, and standing, army, natural infrastructure, and permanent military for peace through strength. Replicate Roman logistics and defense ideology.
Yep.
Senate, Republic, and the imperial transition. I'm gonna walk you into 8 o'clock. Rome evolved from republic to empire under Augustus. America similarly centralized power post-Civil War, and again, FDR's imperial presidency. You hear me? FDR. The Articles of Confederation, 1777, paralleled the Roman Confederation of Tribes, Socia, SOCII, later unified by a central constitution, mirroring Lex Julia integration of allies. I mean, I'm gonna put this in the sources too for those. You know what I mean? I'm gonna drop that right now. Monte. I mean, because we gonna see y'all next week, right? Hopefully y'all pull up on us. You know what I mean? And that's really the foundation, though, that you need to understand the blueprint from our Senate, our Republic, our civil religion, the legal difference. All these things have sources that go back to Rome. You ain't got to get caught up in no pseudo shit if you're trying to understand the connection, because Rome is the referee, as this whole series is breaking down for you to understand. Some of people like to float off and they like to go all sorts of places. You know what I'm saying? And some people might even want to say Rome's in America based off how much similarities they see in Rome's system.
And we had somebody come in here and say that earlier, and that's just, we ain't even gonna get into that. But yeah, but to your defense, the person who said that, yes, you do see a lot of similarities because it's literally you see why now. People are literally referencing, if they came over here and they already had, and the Roman concepts was over here, they wouldn't have had to borrow from the Indians, bro. You see what I'm saying? They already had a system. If this was already Rome, the Indians wouldn't be rocking separately to that. So that's just another one of them. Egypt is in America. You feel me? It's a waste of a conversation. Yeah. But to end it off though, Matt, you feel me? So you just tied. So a lot of what you do and a lot of people got to understand is you love to get a source information so people can go fact check these things, to go read it, to go understand that these weren't made up. This ain't an opinion of the different things that are being shared, edicts, everything we done talked about, right? But we want to show you, they always say that the empire fell in Rome, which it really didn't. But then in that area of Rome that they considered through history, why it was able to fall apart. I just want to put some comparisons up that we found with our research and see if that sounds like anything that's familiar to us right now. So the Roman collapsed for 5 main reasons. The political balance was destroyed. The oligarchic Senate versus populist generals. They had civil wars, became normal. Economic inequality, slave labor, and estates crushed smallholders. Urban poverty exploded. They had weaponized law. Prosecutions and prescriptions targeted opponents. Justice lost legitimacy. Then you had the rise of the strongmen. Citizens chose saviors over systems. Dictatorship dressed as reformed. Then they had a moral decay. Faith in the republic vanished. Spectacle replaced service. So now we compare that to America. So then we got the wealth concentration and the shrinking middle class. It weakens the civic backbone, which we see right now. Our participation in civic engagement, especially amongst the Black community, is super low. Then you got a media spectacle and disinformation crowd out participatory citizenship. It's real common in the Black community where a lot of us say, I ain't even participating in none of that. It don't got nothing to do with me. So we sitting here living in these cities, states, republics, not even doing anything in our local area, let alone even thinking about federal, right? Because I can give you it, I can understand federally, but in your area, it don't make sense. You live there, you are affected by what's going on around you. All right, but then we got the expanding emergency and executive powers, Congress checks and balances, compressed checks and balances. So this is how they're trying to paint Donald Trump as if he's going against the Constitution, trying to be a dictator with this media spectacle. Then you got the justice system seen as partisan. Legitimacy crisis grows. We all from different communities in America are saying that the justice system is broken. All right, and then the moral framework, and then the individual identity replaces the common good. So right now, our ideologies separate us. Even if we Black, you got different ideology. We don't even want to rock with each other no more. Right now at the party, Mac, don't we all get called all kind of names just because we want to report on history correctly? I mean, we ain't disrespecting nobody. We ain't took no food out of nobody's mouth.
You can get it.
Oh, you know we ain't. Hey, you know we ain't ducking. Yeah, but here goes a warning shot, though, Matt. When we being super serious with it, just because America is the top dog, you can say what you want, but we are the top dogs. But understand one thing: if this decays in front of us, every last one of us will feel it, because ain't none of us in no position to go start no country and be able to control the republic, but it's just the facts of the matter. We covered this with immigration. No matter how you feel about it, this is still one of the greatest countries out there, and this our shit. And we just sitting here holding the back seat while everybody do us however they want us. But over here we breaking it down, and we appreciate it, Matt, when you come bring these topics up. We do this daily, but it's kind of getting out to the people, and we appreciate the participation. Shout out to everybody who joined the Patreon. Mac, you say we doing real good on the Patreon. All right, and
man. Shout out to everybody that's been joining, man. We keeping up with y'all. We're gonna be sending emails out for the bills that we get ready to do. We're gonna be starting dropping the PDFs. A lot of PDFs that we got. We're gonna start dropping them in the Patreon, so everybody that supports us will get the PDF first. You know what I mean? And those PDFs will help you lead up to most of the information you'll see that we drop, and different source material we got coming from the party directly. You know what I mean? We dropping some source material soon. So we're getting ready. A lot of administrative stuff being done. Shout out to Munta and other people in the party. Shout out to God of Green Tea, Blaze. You already know me what it is. So the hard reality is live life autonomously. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna hold you. You heard me? So shout out to all my Maroons outside, Esther Lusty. You heard me? Shout out to all my Gullah. You already know what it is. You hear me? And all my folk. Shout out to my mama. Rest in peace, by the way. It's been a year. Peace. And it took me almost a year to get my mind back right to do what we doing. So, but we here now. That's why we ain't gonna play with you. And when we jump in the studio, we're getting ready to jump in the studio. So I need to get ready, because I'm sitting in the crib right now. Just but I'm letting y'all know what's coming. So peace to the party. But thank y'all for tapping in.
Yeah, big things on the horizon. Great lecture, great real Mac. Shout out to the party. Shout out to the rest of our supporters. We appreciate it. We do appreciate the super chats. We're independent media, doing everything self-funded, and trying to grow. So you see us putting our own effort in. We appreciate the support. Hey, so with that, go ahead, Matt. Ready to go? What you got?
Going back in the last two bills, we've been pointing out, and not like for those who aren't been following, and you might go by African American, you might go by these terms that we've been educated in the system by, as we just broke down the Romanized system. There's even more reason why even the word Indian is tied to the Romans, by the way. And the word Indian is tied to the Romans. Asia is tied to the Romans. As far as geographical locations and things, when you trace it back, it's getting its name from them. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So within that, that's why you got to be careful, especially today when you talk about genealogy and you're doing it from off of an American standpoint, what you could trace. But then when you get past a certain point and you're finding out, okay, what is happening in the worldly view of the world and how your people still here were impacted, it's why you got to be, careful, because you associate yourself with maybe the ops. You heard me?
Right. So don't even know it. We being finessed. Even Kobe, he just put something. Thomas Jefferson was one of the good guys. He opposed the national bank and was a proponent of natural law. See, that's why we got to get a proper understanding, bro. We've been lied to create this division between us. We really getting played. Like I can't wait till it will come a time where we understand how foolish we look going back and forth with people on a made up story. And people is really emotionally tied to this with no proof. Just going off the there. It's really crazy though.
Yeah, so as we talked about real quick, and I'm gonna land on this one. We're gonna be out of it with this right here. The legal system, that created the Atlantic slavery. You know what I'm saying? It was built from the Roman Iberian presidents, Servetus, right? And it says Asiento. You got 9 Ether coming. You heard me?
I see.
9 Ether coming. Yeah, the El Negro Part 2 Roman edition. Yeah, we got that coming for y'all. Shout out to 9 Ether. You're gonna pull up. So with that, you know what I'm saying? The Inca media, in a sense, and then absorbed into English common law, which Blackstone brought here. I gave y'all the names now. All right, so these codes, I'm giving y'all the connections now. It's just these codes treated any non-Christian or non-European subject as a person who could be held in perpetual servitude. You see what I'm saying? It says when the English and the Portuguese expanded into West and Central Africa, they applied the same logic, legally speaking. So the structure of enslavement really was Roman in form,
Mm-hmm.
even if the victims were not Romans. This is the identity of people enslaved. Contemporary shipping and parish records call them Guinea, Congo, Angola, Wida, Mina people. Regional designations, not the modern racial word, African. That term became common only in the 1700s. It's going to be tied to King Charles II. If we're going to trace where we can find this word in America in the Atlantic slave trade, tied to Asiento. You heard me? Because King Charles, funny enough, married who? A Portuguese woman. That's how the Asiento gets into the King Charles II's hands. But I'm going to save the rest for y'all. Y'all got to pull up on us. You heard me?
Hey, let's end it on this right here.
I'm leaving right now.
Right here. Look at this. He said, have listened to the entire list, and I still think that Rome's foundations are in America. End this off on that there, man. Hey, man. But at least you acknowledge the fact that it's a Roman system, and we appreciate you for watching. We ain't got time to debate. Yeah, but y'all, if y'all come and y'all got some contradictory evidence of that being true, then we'll
show me how that works, Craig.
Correct. We want to hear. We definitely want to hear.
Show us the sources of how that works here in America. All right, that's all I need you to do.
And shout out to Nicosia. I hope I pronounced it right. If I did, please forgive me. But she say I always see you supporting her. She say y'all have some great music. And shout out to the Gullah Man's Choir.
Yeah, shout out to you. I appreciate you very much, and everybody else too, by the way.
For sure.
Appreciate you.
What's up with it, Matt? You good? Ready to shut it down?
I'm good. Maranatha. You know what I mean? The hospitality is live life autonomy. Until next week. Peace.
We gone, y'all. Peace.
Aborigines, which means what? Black folk. You never find a white aborigine. Aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines, but you don't like to be called an aborigine.
But the paper said I fit a different role. Stamped and filed in a system so cold. They never asked me, they just told. They call me person, but that ain't who I am. I come from people, from spirit, from land. It's more than a label, it's how they divide. But I know the truth deep down inside. People got power, people got pain. Persons of paper caught up in the game. steal my name. I'm not just a number, I'm not their shame. People rise up, speak what you know. You're not a person, you're a soul that glows. Oh. Some say it's just words, don't make it deep. But names are spells and the cuts run deep. How they define you, how they bind you. But truth don't sleep, it'll find you. All this legal fiction, built on omission. They rewrote the books and hid opposition. But we're not words, we're not just names. We're breathing proof they can't contain. People got power, people got pain. Persons are paper caught up in the game. Don't box me in, don't steal my name. I'm not just a number, I'm not their shame. People rise up, speak what you know. You're not a person, you're a soul that glows. No barcode, no chain, no check in the file. I'm walking with grace, I'm walking with style. I'm not a thing in a courtroom slide. I'm the people and I won't be denied.